Hi, welcome back to the 2000s series where we're up to the year 2002, and this is going to be a little bit shorter because I don't have too many fragrances from the year 2002, it looks like, so I'm going to be very brief. And one that I don't think gets a lot of talk is another Joop one. Now, this is very similar to that What About Adam fragrance that I mentioned in several of my videos as being a very off the main sort of beat kind of fragrance that you wouldn't think a designer house at the time like Joop would be releasing something like that. It's so weird because of that tomato leaf smell. Well, they did it again with a different scent, and I only have a little one of this one, and it is this one right here. It is called Rococo, and it's by Joop, as I mentioned. Now, this was released in 2002 by pretty much an unknown name in perfumery. It still smells good, and it's got a ton of pepper and ginger and juniper up the top there to sort of, spritz you up. But then it's also got ivy and freesia and some mahogany wood that it rests on in the base, which really give it a different kind. Like, the notes itself don't really do it justice because I think that it's done quite well and it's done quite differently as well. But it definitely does have that feel of the turn of the century. And if you smell this, you'd be like, yes, it's definitely one that shows its age, but it's actually something that's done quite well. For a house like Joop, which is still selling Joop Homme, but for some reason discontinued things like this and What About Adam. What can you do? Okay, and the next one in this list of not so many is this one right here. This is Dia Man by Amouage. Dia Man by Amouage. Now, can you believe this came out in 2002? I can't, because I think smelling something like this in 2002, well before Dior Homme was a thing, would have really set a lot of people back. Now, why am I mentioning Dior Homme? Because this really, the star of the show in this particular fragrance, to my nose, is that Orris root, which is kind of like iris. It is the actual iris. The accord that's in Dior Homme is like a synthetic representation of perhaps what Orris root definitely smells like. But this has a bit more nuance to it. It's a bit more earthy, and it's a bit less makeup baggish and a bit less sort of lipsticky as well. However, you do know that it is an iris or an orris sort of note in here, or an accord that's in here. Now, it's not all about the orris because there's also leather in here and vetiver as well, and according to some people, peony and plum, which I only get briefly on my skin. I haven't actually tested this on a tester strip because those usually pronounce those fruity notes and those florals a lot more. And I've not really worn this in all types of weather because I only picked it up recently. As you can see, it's still quite full, and I haven't given it enough wearings to actually find out all of its nuances and all of the notes opening up on my skin in different types of weather and different conditions as well. But unbelievably, it is from 20 years ago, and it is such a phenomenal fragrance that I think that this is probably the Amouage that is one of the most office safe, non-offensive, non-in-your-face, very non-spicy, almost like it's not an Amouage, as a matter of fact. And I can't believe that it was 20 years ago that they actually did this. So there you go, Amouage. Dia Man. Now the next one needs no introduction whatsoever, and it wouldn't be a 2002 list if I didn't include this one in there. Should I even say what this is? You should already know. If you are into fragrances and you watch fragrance review videos, you know what this is. Even though there's no writing anywhere on the bottle itself, you know what this is. If it's your first time and you're just getting into it and you don't know what this bottle is, this is M7 by Yves Saint Laurent. And this was released in 2002. As a matter of fact, I think this is from 2002, this bottle. So it is the original formulation. And I must admit, I really do like M7. I like the smell of M7, not because it's like groundbreaking oud fragrance and I respect it and all this kind of thing. No, I just like the smell. It's pleasant. It's not challenging in the least, But I can imagine maybe in 2002 when it came out, people were like, whoa, this is a bit different. But these days, this is not different at all. As a matter of fact, this would be, if this was released today, people would be like, yeah, this is a very, very nice fragrance. It's well done. It hides a bit of nuance behind its enormous projection and longevity, which this still has. And really, it comes from, you know, heavy hitting sort of noses like Alberto Morillas and Jacques Cavalier. And these guys know what they're doing when it comes to design of fragrances for sure. And they knew what they were doing when they made this. Again, this was one of the ones that came out when I think Tom Ford was still helping out with being the creative director at Yves Saint Laurent, as well as being the creative director at Gucci. And yeah, I'm not going to say it's a timeless scent or anything like that, because it is very timely as a matter of fact, and things have moved on since then. But there's no reason why anyone wouldn't enjoy this in today's day and age. Unfortunately, this is one of those unicorns that is really, really hard to come by. It has become so expensive because people have hyped it up as being this ultimate oud scent, which it is not. It is not the ultimate oud scent at all. It is a nice, woody, spicy, sort of ambery kind of scent, and the fact that it's mixed with like mandarin at the top is probably what sets it apart from maybe other sort of oud scents, which sort of use rose as their floral or their the counterpart to the oud, a more traditional thing. And this sort of parts with tradition a little bit because it doesn't really smell like anything from the Middle East really. And I must say there was reformulations of this in this particular bottle as well, where the glass became clear and there was a sticker. And then after this reformulation, there was another reformulation which turned this into M7 Oud Absolu, which I have a bottle of somewhere as well. And that came out in 2014, and then that got reformulated again in 2017, I believe, and that became the clear bottle, which then turned into M7 again. So there you go. But I have a confession to make, in that of the M7 line, this one is not my favorite. My favorite, and the one that I think is the best in the M7 line, is M7 Fresh. That is a phenomenally good fragrance, and I do not have a bottle of it. I don't have a bottle of it, and I've gone through decants of it and I've tested it on and off, but I don't know why I never bought it. Every time I smell it, I'm thinking, this is the best. This is heaps better than M7. Like I said, a lot better in my view. There's something otherworldly about what the oud does in M7 Fresh with the ginger, as opposed to something like this. They both have their place. However, I think M7 Fresh takes it, and it would be on my 2000s list for next year, but I don't have a bottle of it. But then again, I do have this, and it's close enough. So there you go. There's only 3 in this video for this list from fragrances that I've got from 2002, and wrapping it up. So thanks for watching.
Thank you.